again. It was 18 years back when Sachin Tendulkar decimated Steve Waugh's Australia in two back-to-back games at Sharjah that catapulted the little man to almost a divine status. The game is still etched in the minds of many like me when the great man tore into the Australian bowling lineup, led by Damien Fleming and Michael Kasparovich, as he scripted one of the most remarkable wins for India in ODI cricket. While Sachin is long retired, on Sunday the country witnessed a near celestial knock by his protege Virat Kohli, who practically single-handedly stitched one of the greatest T20 knocks. And that knock came in a high-pressure knockout game against the very same opponent Sachin Tendulkar took on in 1998, Australia. The innings has now prompted many to not only draw comparisons between Kohli and Sachin, but some are even heard whispering that he may have just bettered the great man himself. Is that comparison unfair, or is there an iota of truth in that? To answer that and more, I'm now joined by former captain of the Indian cricket team, Chris Srikanth, under whom, in fact, Sachin Tendulkar had made his debut. Thank you so very much, Chika, for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Since that knock, social media is gripped by this, this Kohli hysteria. As Indians, we love to make comparisons. And the comparison which is obviously being made now is between Tendulkar and Virat Kohli. Kohli has been around for about 7 years. Enough time for us to sit back and reflect over his career. Now, how do you see this comparison between him and Sachin Tendulkar?
See, first and foremost, I don't think it's right to compare two cricketers like Sachin Tendulkar or Kohli. I tell you why. Both of them belong to actually different eras. Even though Sachin Tendulkar, towards the end of his career, played along with Kohli, fair enough, fair point. But then you'll have to understand, Sachin Tendulkar started playing from 1989, and his cricketing career spanned over a period of 24 years. So in cricket, as in life, never compare eras. There was a Don Bradman era, there was a Sunil Gavaskar era, there was a Gary Sobers era, then there was a Viv Richards era, there was a Tendulkar era, and now it's probably the Kohli's era, let's put it that way.
So taking from there, then at least now you're saying that we have unambiguously, Indian cricket has unambiguously entered the Virat Kohli era.
Yes, as far as the batting is concerned, definitely yes. I think the Indian batting is totally dependent on Kohli. I mean, you saw it in the T20 World Cup so far, and it's unimaginable that it's a typical one-man army for India so far. One man who's able to shepherd the team for victory against Australia. What a knock against Australia. What a knock against Pakistan. Under tremendous pressure. It looks like Kohli is playing in a different planet, or as a guy coming from a different planet, or it looks like he's playing on a different wicket. When others are struggling, this guy is able to play shots at will. And best part about Kohli is all those runs that he got with a terrific run rate are all cricketing shots. They are not power hitting like some of the international cricketers do. You saw he's able to pierce the field, his sense of timing, he plays it so late, and how he's able to step up the run rate. That's something amazing.
Well, I know, Chika, you don't like this comparison that is being drawn between Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli, but if I were to stick to that point, because, one sore point, which many Tendulkar fans like me have had to justify, and I've had to sort of take on the world against, because many people have said that Tendulkar is not a good finisher. He has not won games for India in a way in which Virat Kohli is doing now. Purely in terms of, when it comes to finishing off games, do you think there you will give Virat Kohli more points?
See, that's a wrong comparison, again, I would say. It's not right to compare two great cricketers who have achieved so much. I mean, definitely Kohli will go as one of the all-time greats. I agree with you completely. But to compare with Tendulkar, or to compare Kohli and Tendulkar, first and foremost, in my opinion, is wrong. As I said, because they belong to different eras. And number two, don't forget, Sachin Tendulkar also played so many matches. I mean, the number of one-days. And you have to understand, don't forget the Desert Storm match, which Sachin Tendulkar played against the same Australian side at Sharjah. In the good old days, he was they were chasing an unimaginable run rate. At that particular period, if you look at it, it was only Sachin who was winning games for us. Like how Kohli is doing for us today. The Desert Storm period, I guess it was something around 1999 or 2000, that period, if I'm right. 1997 to 2000, that period. Literally, it was a one-man army in Tendulkar that time. When India had to win, Sachin had to score, whether it's be Test cricket or one-day cricket. I'll never forget the Desert Storm match against Australia, a mighty Australian attack. And India had to chase some unimaginable because the Duckworth-Lewis rule. There was a match was truncated, and suddenly they said so many runs. And he just asked, I believe, what's the run rate? He said, this is a run rate. He'll go and just decimated the Australian bowling. So it's something similar. What Sachin did in the good old days, like the Sharjah Desert Storm, is what Kohli is doing today. So I would not like to compare. I would like to just keep it separate and say, man, Sachin Tendulkar, he's a superhero, and definitely he's a god of cricket. Now Kohli is a man climbing towards that particular area, let's put it that way, and he's another one of the all-time greats. Kohli definitely will go as one of the all-time greats in my book.
Absolutely, that that Sharjah knock is simply unforgettable. But if I were to persist once again, rather annoyingly, I can imagine, with this Tendulkar versus Virat Kohli comparison, and if you were to say, leaving aside cricketing skills, more as a role model, I mean, the manner, the grace with which Sachin Tendulkar has played cricket for 25 years, practically, he's not been embroiled in any controversy. For youngsters, do you think Tendulkar is perhaps a greater role model? Because in many ways, he sort of epitomized, the term gentleman's cricket, gentleman's game.
See, man, even Virat Kohli accepted it. His role model was Tendulkar. The moment he got his scores that day and won the match for India, whom did he bow down to? He said, I bow down to the great man Tendulkar watching the match. Virat Kohli said, I'm feeling very proud that I was able to perform in front of Tendulkar and win a match against Pakistan in a crucial match at Calcutta. And so everybody acknowledges the fact that Tendulkar, everybody looks up to Tendulkar as one of the all-time, ever greats, let's put it that way. In the sense, Tendulkar, Don Bradman, Viv Richards, Gary Sobers, these guys will go in the record books as what you will always, even after say probably 50 years, 100 years, their names will never get erased. Now, is Kohli getting towards it? If you ask me the answer is yes. He's getting towards it.
Chika, you're actually taking the name of Virat Kohli in the same breath as Gary Sobers, Vivian Richards. So you say that. So you actually believe that he is actually en route to to having a legendary status in the game, like Viv Richards and Gary Sobers.
I'm just saying he's still got a lot more time to go. So he's achieved brilliance. I mean, you see his number of one-day hundreds, you see Kohli's number of test hundreds, his average, everything is fantastic. So he's moving towards the space is what I'm trying to say. That's why I said he's moving towards the space of one of the all-time greats.
Well, thank you very much, Chika. We've got to leave it at that.